everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Blueshirts Breakaway Podcast. And today we are going to be addressing the most recent game versus the New Jersey Devils, the lines and everything, and just our preview for the upcoming game and more New York Rangers talk. But before we get into this, I do want to let you guys know that we do have a Twitter and Instagram account, so be sure to click the link in the description and go ahead and check those out. Follow us there. Also, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now, let's just jump into it. The New York Rangers had a brutal 4-3 loss against the New Jersey Devils on Tuesday night. It was not good considering the Rangers were the better team. They had 50 shots on goal and couldn't come up with the win because Mackenzie Blackwood played out of his mind. And go figure, he missed today's game against the New York Islanders because of coronavirus or being on the COVID list at the very least for the Devils. And he might have tested positive, I don't remember, but didn't play against them. But we had to face him. Nothing he could do there. And if he does have corona, hopefully he recovers quickly. But just unfortunate that we had to face him because he was lights out in net on Tuesday night, and it was just very unfortunate. Now, we like to start every episode, as you guys know, with a segment where we point out who the best player was. Jack, I'll let you start. Who was the best player on Tuesday night?
Adam Fox, 100%. He was the most aggressive out there.
You stole mine.
He had 6 shots on net, 2 assists. So he balled out 2 nights ago. Just did absolutely insane, and I like to see that from him. I really like him a lot.
Yeah, and I was talking about on my other channel, I was talking about how it's unfortunate that he ended up getting hit with a -1 because of the fact that he was so good that night, and he was the only one really that was good defensively on Tuesday night. And yeah, you stole mine, but I do have someone else in mind. I have a couple people that I've been thinking about. Fox was gonna ultimately be the one that I was gonna say, but I will pick someone else, and it's between 3 people. I was gonna pick Kreider, but he wasn't outstanding enough. He did have the goal. And then same with Zibanejad, I was going to pick him, but again, like that wide open net kind of like made me take that one back, and they were both power play goals after all. Yeah, I don't know how he missed that. We'll talk about that a little later because there was a couple things that just pissed me off about that night, but I got to give it to Brendan Lemieux, not only for being a warrior and blocking those 2 shots from PK Subban. The guy just played so good on Tuesday night, and I don't know what it was, but we saw a different Brendan Lemieux. He wasn't just playing physical. He was also playing, blocking shots. He was skating fast, getting some good scoring opportunities, almost scored on a breakaway there, which was kind of frustrating. I wish he did get a penalty shot there, but nothing you could do about that there. But overall, he played a really great game, and I wish that he got more power play time also. And I just wish he was able to score that night because he played really well. Now, though, let's talk about what went wrong for the Rangers, because Georgiev was in the net. He was named the starter. He went in, got 19 saves, and then Shesterkin started the third. Do you think Georgiev is to blame for this game, or do you blame defensive play on this one?
I mean, a team loss is a team loss. I blame both the defense and the goaltender. He could have stopped a couple, but I mean, it all goes back to the defense. You know, we got Jacob Trouba. I mean, he is.
Oh my God, turnover machine.
He's been a turnover machine. I mean, it is ridiculous. And when you put your goaltender in that situation, and you give Jack Hughes a free breakaway, he's scoring 9 out of 10 times. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say Georgiev is not to blame for this game at all. And if anyone does blame Georgiev, you're in the wrong. The first goal was absolutely his fault. That 100% is Georgiev's fault. He should have saved that. But the other goals, you look at them. The Jack Hughes won the first one. Lindgren should have, I don't know where he was looking, but he should have been able to stop that one. The second Jack Hughes goal, yeah, it got him 5-hole, but Lindgren also with a poor defensive play there. And then the Miles Miles Wood one was on a power play ultimately, and it ended up being a kicking motion, which Quinn said that he said in the post game that he regrets not challenging it, which could have possibly changed the outcome of the game, unfortunately. So he should have just went for it and challenged it. But I mean, in the moment, he wasn't confident enough. He didn't want to risk going on the penalty kill with that one. So at that point, he felt more comfortable just letting it play out, and it ultimately would have changed the game, obviously, because we would have at least gotten a point out of that because it would have went to overtime. But overall, I thought Quinn had a poor coaching performance himself. I don't know if you feel the same way, but man, like, if you just look at the ice time, which is always how I evaluate Quinn's coaching performance, you have Julian Gauthier getting less than 10 minutes. You have Kakko getting 14 minutes. You have Di Giuseppe only getting 11:30, and Hedel getting only a little under 14, which I thought that was one of the best lines. Like I said, Gauthier then under 10 minutes. Lafreniere only got a little over 14. And then you had Jack Johnson get more ice time than all of them, which I know he's on defense, so he might be getting more ice time. But it's just inexcusable at this point what Quinn is doing. And also, he barely rolled out the second power play unit on the power play. He tired that first unit out, and it showed a lot. I mean, Zibanejad, I don't even think on that injury that he got at the end, he really got hit there. He kind of just like went into the boards, and it was just that. What?
He was just winded, in my opinion, I think.
Yeah, the entire power play unit was that first power play unit just was not. They were good, obviously, because it got 2 goals, but they were getting overworked, in my opinion. Here's a little bit of a perspective for the power play units, how the time was distributed. So Panarin got a total of 8 minutes and 56 seconds on the power play. He is on Unit 1. Strome on Unit 1, who missed a wide open net on the power play at the end, which, oh God, or he went to pass it, I should say. He didn't even miss an open net. He decided to pass it on an open net, which he was brutal. If we had to give worst player, he's probably the guy that you could say was the worst player of the game. 100%. And I'm still pissed we signed him to that contract, considering Barzell only signed for $7 million, could have offer sheeted him. Anthony Cirelli signed for less than him, I'm pretty sure, could have offer sheeted him. Pierre-Luc Dubois is on the trade market, which I think he's going to ultimately end up with the Rangers either way. But that's a topic maybe for later in this episode that we could talk about, because that's a little interesting that what happened with him tonight with Columbus. But back to what I was saying, you had Kreider, who's on that unit also, 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Zibanejad, 7 minutes and 38 seconds. And then Fox, 8 minutes and 44. So power play 2, Lafreniere, 47 seconds. Brett Howden, 17 seconds. Kakko, 1:48. Lemieux, 44 seconds. Hedel, 44 seconds. Buchnevich, who is flip-flopping between the 2 units, had 2 minutes and 31 seconds. And then you had Trouba get 1:16 on the power play, which I'm sure D'Angelo is going to end up playing tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say, by the time this is going up. He will probably be playing and then quarterbacking that second power play. I don't see them really changing anything with Fox there. But you cannot be handing out power play time like that. The fact that most of your second unit got under a minute, come on, Quinn.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like he just ultimately just overworks that first power play line. Like, you know, you got Panarin and Zibanejad on there. He's like, oh, those guys, every time we get a power play, you know, they're going to get us a goal. But, you know, when you overwork them and it comes into that late third period, when you need that goal, you know, they're going to be winded. And, you know, that can, like, ultimately final third period play just win, like, all of your players just gassed. And I think that he should put more trust in the second power play, bringing it back to the ice time, you know, Kakko and all these young players, they just need more ice time. You know, this is your future. And if you want to know how good your future is, you have to give him time. Like, he still needs to adjust from coming over from Olympic sized rink. So it's like, he needs time to adjust. And if he's only getting 14 minutes a game, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just like Quinn is just honestly screwing this team a lot. I mean, Keandre Miller, he didn't even give any penalty kill time. Like, what are you even doing there? And just I just don't understand what Quinn is doing at this point. Giving Panarin too much ice time. Yeah, the guy was a Hart Trophy finalist, Ted Lindsay finalist last year. But I'm sorry, the way all these teams in the league are winning, they're handing out equal ice time to their players. You look at the Islanders, who went to the conference finals, they roll out all four lines. You have the Lightning, they roll out all four lines. You have all these teams rolling out all four lines pretty much equally. Yes, your top two lines, I agree, should get more time, but you got to start giving a little more equal ice time here. Like, just playing Gauthier less than 10 minutes in the game when he's been one of your best players all season. Come on, Quinn. Come on. It's inexcusable.
Yeah, it's very inexcusable too, and I think most games, a lot of hockey games are won from third and fourth line goals. Who can compete better when you're going up against their fourth and third line? Who's going to win that dogfight? And those are goals that you could potentially score to put you back in the game against their weaker line. If you're just not giving them ice time, then it's just not going to match up right.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for this game, though, like I said kind of at the beginning, you just got to tip your cap to Blackwood on this one. He was absolutely insane. 50 shots on goal for the Rangers, and they come up with 3 goals. Like, yeah, the offense, you can't really complain except for the last 5 minutes, and that was kind of showing the fatigue and all the players being winded. You had Zibanejad, Kreider, Panarin, Strome, all of them making poor plays and all of them making bad, sloppy passes, missing open nets. You just had poor play from them all in the last few minutes of that period, of that third period, especially when it was the 6-on-4 at the end. That was just so sloppy, and that was just terrible to watch, and the Rangers should have scored there. I can't even believe that.
Yeah, like when Panarin had that wide open net, normal Panarin, like, he's fully like charged, I guess you could say. He's like not winded. He's taking that shot as soon as it hits his stick. Like, he's not wasting any time. He's looking to score, tie up the game, and see him not shoot the puck right away and kind of like just wait a second just makes me like, I was screaming at my TV. I was like, what are we doing? And look at the ice time, and I'm like, okay, these guys are more sloppy because, like you said, they had way more ice time. It just wasn't evenly distributed.
Yeah, and I have a personal message to David Quinn. David Quinn, on the penalty kill, Jacob Trouba saw over a minute of ice time because there wasn't a lot of penalties for them to kill off on Tuesday. Not a lot. Adam Fox, your best defenseman when it comes to both ends of the ice. He's the best defenseman offensively for the Rangers and defensively. Under a minute, under 30 seconds, a little over 20 seconds of ice time on the penalty kill. What are you doing? Jack Johnson, over a minute on the penalty kill. It's just, what are you doing? What are you even doing, Quinn? I don't even understand what goes through his head when he's rolling out these lines and when he's trying to put the lines together in general. Like, what is going through his head? I'm just sick of it. I'm truly sick of it. And we're going to now move on to something, if you want to talk about sickening me more, let's move on to the lines or most likely the lines for tomorrow's game. Have you heard the lines most likely for tomorrow's game?
No, I have not.
Oh, wait till you hear this because this is going to be interesting. Shout out to Vince Mercogliano, as always, on Twitter, keeping us up to date with the practice when it comes to the New York Rangers and keeping us up with the press conferences, which I have not got to watch, or not the press conferences, but the interviews. I have not got to watch the post game from last game, and I did not get to watch anything from the most recent practice. So here is what we know from practice. Looks like Shesterkin's going to start in Pittsburgh for Friday's game. All right. That's a smart move. That's
Agreeable.
fine. Forward line 1. You have Lafreniere on the left, Mika Zibanejad centering that with Kreider on the right. I have been wanting this line for a little bit, but at the same time, if this is just to give Lafreniere more ice time, if he gets the same amount of ice time and then Quinn ends up putting Booch back on that line, I'm going to lose it because Quinn is not letting any of these guys develop chemistry at all. So,
changing the lines too much.
Yeah, and even in opening night, like, I don't remember if we addressed this in the first episode, but in the first 30 minutes, he's juggling lines already, not letting any chemistry develop at all. It's just ridiculous. Then you have, for the second forward line, Panarin, Strome, Buchnevich. Third line, Di Giuseppe, Hedel, Kakko. Fourth line, Lemieux, Howden, Gauthier. And I even heard that Gauthier could end up being a healthy scratch tomorrow for Kevin Rooney since he might be coming back. If Gauthier sits on Friday, I physically and mentally am going to just lose my mind. Like, I don't even know what I'll say. I don't know what I'll do. Just, I don't understand. But then it only gets better. You ready to hear the defense? Because that's always the question, right? Lindgren and Fox. All right, I like that pairing. Miller and Trouba, which was, by the way, these are the opening night pairings. And then Johnson and D'Angelo. Brendan Smith is most likely going to be a healthy scratch again.
Don't agree with that at all.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Sorry, you could go.
One thing I like about that is Miller on the second line. That's probably in the first. That's about it.
That doesn't really matter since the defense really has been getting equal ice time. It's just, why are we pairing Johnson and D'Angelo again? We are seeing how Johnson's playing alone without D'Angelo. On its own, that's bad. You throw D'Angelo, who's terrible in his own zone, in that mix.
Yeah, it's...
I don't know what David Quinn sees in Jack Johnson to continue playing him, but oh my God, is it brutal.
Awful.
I really hope Quinn decides before the game we're going to scratch Johnson and play Smith. That's all we could really hope for right now. The only reason I don't think he will is because of the whole lefty-righty thing, and he doesn't want to have two righties playing with each other, but just do it. Come on. Put Hayek in for Johnson then. It's time to get Johnson out of the lineup. I never will understand the signing when you have Zdeno Chara on the market who signed for less. And is significantly billion times better than Jack Johnson.
I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you think about the Boyle rumor?
The Brian Boyle rumors?
Yeah.
If it happens, I'll be happy with it. But I don't see it happening. I don't think it's going to happen because I think the Rangers want to try to focus on their youth, even though Quinn is not really doing that. And, oh, God, you had Brian Boyle in that mix. He's going to get more ice time than Philip Hedel, Kakko, and Lafreniere.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but, like, I mean, you need a veteran player to, like, probably the oldest player on your team is, Kreider? And
I think Brendan Smith. And then Jack Johnson, probably.
But, I mean, a good veteran player to help, like, not coach, but mentor younger players is what everyone needs. You see it in all sports. You know, teams, franchises usually stick with a veteran player, even if they're not balling out, they usually have a veteran player to mentor their younger players and teach them and pass what they know on to them.
The thing is, yes, I agree with that, but it's gotten to the point where veteran presence isn't going to address the ice time issues. Yeah, I agree we need a veteran on this team, but when they're going to get more ice time than these kids, don't do it. Don't do it, because for some reason Quinn has a thing for playing veteran players instead of the kids, and it's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous and frustrating to me to watch and everything. A player, though, that I do want and I'm intrigued by, Pierre-Luc Dubois. So what I was talking about earlier, in case any of you guys did not know, Pierre-Luc Dubois only got about 4 minutes of playing time in Thursday night's game for the Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it is because apparently he was not giving 100% effort, and it was because he was just playing poorly for the Blue Jackets. And I think that him requesting a trade correlates to this also. I think that they're benching him because of that. But I think that the Rangers absolutely should be all in on Pierre-Luc Dubois, and I think they will be. He would be a perfect fit as the second line center. Reunite him with Panarin. Let's do it. Let's do it already.
I'd love that to happen. You already got a connection right there, like him and Panarin. And, you know, for us, I guess it's glad, you know, when you see a hockey, like an NHL hockey player only get 4 minutes of ice time in a game, you know something's up. Like, if he wasn't giving his effort, you know, they probably would have just benched him, or he wasn't playing well, they would have just benched him and not started him. But when he wants a trade, they usually minimize very little playtime. And I think that he's going to end up wanting that. It's just, if he comes over to New York and we go all in for him, I don't want him, apparently, you know, the organization saying that he's not giving 100% or not trying. You know, I don't.
He's not giving us 100% right now because he wants out. I think that's what it is. He wants out so bad. He screwed himself by signing that contract. I don't understand why he did, but he screwed himself by signing it. And I think that he's going to end up getting out. He's going to keep giving this lazy effort till he gets out. This guy was a 3rd overall pick in 2016, has first line potential still, in my opinion. He's only 22 years old. Played with Panarin. There's no reason not to get this going, Rangers. And you have the assets. You package together something like Buchnevich, Picks, Robertson, or a different young defenseman. You have the assets, Rangers. Let's go. Let's stop messing around. Bring Pierre-Luc Dubois as a Ranger, and his trade value is only going to go down right now with the effort that he's putting in, and the more and more he keeps begging for a trade. It's going to go down his value, and I think that's why the Rangers haven't done it yet. They're going to wait till they could get him at his lowest value so they don't have to give up as much. If Pierre-Luc Dubois wants out, he should just start not going to practice, but
that just doesn't look good on him.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so because, to be fair, him wanting to play for, like, really, do you want to play for John Tortorella and the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Oh, John Tortorella? Don't even get me started on him.
Yeah, he's the one that sat him and only let him play 4 minutes.
He's awful. He's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I get like military code vibes from him. He's super like forceful and like yelly, or yells a lot. I mean, his post game conferences are just, he never looks happy.
Yeah, he told Larry Brooks that he probably got beat up at the bus stop. Yeah, just all that stuff. And
he has no chill.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't. But Pierre-Luc Dubois, I can't blame him for wanting out. He says he wants the big stage. He wants to go to Montreal or the Rangers, play for the big stage. Come on. There's no bigger stage than New York.
Madison Square Garden is probably the place you want to play at.
There's no bigger stage. And not only are you addressing center, you are getting a center that could win faceoffs, which is clearly a problem for this team and has been for a while. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, he wants to play on the big stage, MSG with fans. Obviously there's not fans right now, but in the future, fans, MSGs. Even if it's not a playoff team, every home game in New York is just amazing. It's energetic. It's the big stage. It's in New York. If you want big stage, that's big stage for you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no bigger stage. Pierre-Luc Dubois, let's go. If you want the big stage, I just wish he didn't sign that contract. I really wish he didn't. Although, it will be a good contract if we end up trading for him. But he shouldn't have signed it. He did it to himself. But you finally get someone that could play center. Here would be the change in center. Here's the career faceoff percentage for Pierre-Luc Dubois. 44.1% on the faceoff. It's going up every single year. Phil Petel's faceoff percentage, 38.4 career. And it's been going down a little. It's been a little up and down, but it's been consistently at 38, except for his first season, 36. He's never going to be the second line center that we need. Pierre-Luc Dubois will be the second line center we need. That gives you the ability to move Strome down to the third line. Then you move Hedl to the wing. I'm all in for this. I'm all in for this move. Then you open also more playing time for Lafreniere and Kakko. There is just no downside to making this move. And that's even if you trade Buchnevich, because maybe you don't, then you have him on your third line, Buchnevich with Hedl there, and then Strome would probably move down to that third line, actually. Hedl then could play the wing. Yeah, you could do a lot of combinations with that, and I don't know. I think that the Rangers got to be all in on this. Have to.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. I'm gonna ask you a quick little question. What's your opinion so far on the standings for our division? I'm completely shocked by the Devils.
The Devils.
I know it's very early.
Yeah, the thing with the Devils for me is how much could they play Blackwood, because we saw what happened when Blackwood was in a net. Even when he was in net, that New Jersey team, that defense is just not good enough.
It's not good at all.
You're allowing 50 shots. I don't care how many shots they blocked. Jack Johnson was just shooting at their skates, but I don't care how many shots that they have blocked. Jack Johnson just added to that. I don't care. You allow 50 shots. Your defense did not have a good night. And even against the New York Islanders, I'm pretty sure they allowed 40 shots or something. And they're a team that just is not offensive. They don't play an offensive game at all. They play a neutral zone trap, 1-1-3 structure defense. And they still ended up getting, they got 35 shots. And we saw what happened when Blackwood's on net. I don't think New Jersey's winning is going to be sustainable. I agree
with you.
I'm not really shocked too much by the standings. The only thing that I guess you could say is shocking me is that the Rangers aren't where the Devils are. I expect the two of them to be flip-flopped more. But other than that, I'm not really too shocked by anything. I think we should beat Pittsburgh tomorrow. but we'll see because I opened my mouth about the Devils. Although, to be fair, they did play better than the Devils. It's just that Blackwood was that good.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I'm telling you right now, if they bring that same game plan and the way they played in the Pittsburgh on Friday, I'm telling you right now, you get 50 shots on Pittsburgh, you're winning this game. You're winning this game if you get 50 shots. They got to be better defensively, the Rangers. You get 50 shots on Tristan Jarry or Casey DeSmith, you're winning this game.
You're getting 4 in at least. But like I said about the standings, I'm just absolutely, I'm pissed because it goes Flyers, Islanders, Capitals. That's like the top 3 teams that I have strong hate for, and just to see them in the top 3, it's just pissing. I know it's still very early, but
to me, this division is the Flyers to lose. That's my opinion. That's been my opinion. It's their division to lose.
Yes.
And
yes, I agree.
The thing that's really going to be unfortunate. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say like what you said because Penguins, Sabres, Devils, even Bruins, they're not their elite selves anymore, and I just think that they're no longer teams to be, and they're along with us. They're not rebuilding, but it's just not their prime years, and I think that's where like Philadelphia and Long Island is right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing that I was gonna say is it's very unfortunate that you're gonna see teams in these other divisions that are worse than us or just any team in the East, and like it's just going to be so close in a bloodbath in the East, and then some team that doesn't deserve to make it out of any of the other divisions is going to make it, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think we have one of the best divisions. Like, if you look at last year, the West Division was completely awful. It's unfair.
Yeah.
If I mean, this would never happen, but if last season we were in the West Division, we would be like one of the top teams in the West Division. I mean, it's crazy. We got a tough division, but a tough division is only going to make you better, in my opinion.
That's true also, and I do owe an apology to Montreal fans if they continue to play like this. Montreal has been surprising me. I thought they were going to need another year or two until they became dominant. If they play like this all season, dude, watch out for Montreal. With Carey Price in net and Montreal finally like building a team for him, they're going to be good. I
mean, I'm going to throw this back a little bit. I forgot what year it was. We played them in the playoffs.
There was 2 different years. You have 2017 and then you have 2014. 2014 was obviously the cup run.
Yes, I think that year. Was that the year he was hurt when we played against them? Yeah. I mean,
when Kreider ran him over, yeah.
Yeah, that could have been a different outcome. I mean, he was a great goaltender, and props to him. I just thought of this, like, if he was in net, that outcome could have been different. He's a stud. He's absolutely insane now that he has a team around him.
This is why I mentioned to most people, which we could kind of, I guess, talk about this a little. If you could go back and pick one team that, or not pick one team, but like if you have to decide out of the 2012 team, the 2014 team, and the 2015 team, I'm sorry, out of those 3 teams, the 2014 team is the weakest in my opinion. Yes, they did go to the Stanley Cup, but dude, Carey Price was injured.
Yeah, in my opinion, the strongest team that I've seen where I've been alive is 2015. We were set up to win the cup that
The
year.
2012 team also, it's so close with those two. Those two, man, it's just so frustrating.
I mean, we were down 3-1 against the Capitals and came all the way back. And, we went to 7 with Tampa and, we lost that. That was unfortunate. And, if we win that, I think we have a good shot at the cup. And going into that year, winning the President's Trophy, they always say teams who win the President's Trophy, it's not destined for them to win the cup. But I was like, there's a good chance that we could actually win the cup this year and have revenge on what happened the year before. But in my opinion, I think that's the greatest team I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, it may just be that we both were really young to even remember really 2012, but man, that team should have won the President's Trophy. It's so annoying. They were so good. 51-24-7 was their record that year. They should have won the President's Trophy, like I said. And oh man, that team, it's just really unfortunate. And they came back in that series also against Washington. Washington fans must hate us so much for that.
Dude, we owned them. The span of those 3 years in the playoffs, overtime, we absolutely owned them. I mean, we tied the goal when they were about to win the series, or we tied the game when they were about to win the series. Then we won it in overtime, and we absolutely stomped over them in Game 6, and then Game 7, we just beat them in double overtime. I mean, that's crazy. And what I liked about the 2015 team so much is when Cam Talbot stepped in. I mean, that was probably that's why I think that team was so good, because with a backup goalie, we still were able to win the President's Trophy.
And that was arguably when we were at our hottest point of the season, when Cam Talbot was in net. That was, I agree with that. Honestly, that kind of shows the strength of the team. I didn't even think about it kind of from that perspective, that the fact that they still won the President's Trophy and went on that really great run without Lundqvist even being there, and you had Talbot, and then you had a little bit of Skapski playing also. I didn't even think about that. It just, to me, in 2012, I don't know, it's just you got Gabrick on that team, Richards when he was really good, Stahl before his eye injury. It just, oh man, it really screwed the chances of us winning a cup in that era? The Rick Nash trade. The Rick Nash trade was so bad. It really screwed us over, in my opinion.
We gave up. Dude, that was so... And he wasn't even, in 2015, I think it was. He wasn't even during, the Capitals series. He scored one goal.
Yeah, the guy disappeared in the playoffs. The guy...
Yeah, absolutely disappeared. But
in that season, though, you know what? Fine. He had 42 goals, but in the playoffs, he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I forgot who we gave up for him. It was one of the assistant captains, I think. He went to the Blue Jackets. You say his name, I remember, from that trade.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Who we got for Rick Nash, who we traded for Rick Nash. I forgot his name.
The guys that we traded for Rick Nash, we traded Tim Erickson, Artem Anisimov, Brandon Dubinsky, and
Anisimov.
Yeah, and a first-round pick, which became Kirby Reichel. And then, we got Rick Nash, and then we got the pick that did become Pavel Buchnevich. Little fun fact. And then, what we got for Rick Nash is pretty good, actually. We
traded him right before he went, down.
Boston, no, we didn't even. He was going down. It was clear. Boston just overpaid. We got Ryan Lindgren in that trade. Yeah, the Yandel trade. We got, D'Angelo, and then the pick that became Lias Anderson, which, Lias Anderson bust. But in that trade for Rick Nash, we got Lindgren. We got the pick that became Miller. Well, it actually went to Ottawa, and then we just used it to move up to get Keandre Miller. We essentially got Ryan Strome in that trade because Spooner ended up getting flipped for Strome. We got Matt Bolesky, which really is nothing, and a 7th. That's a lot for a declining Rick Nash that Boston paid, and they didn't even win the cup that year.
Yeah, I really think they were pushing to win the cup that year, but Yeah, I mean, now that you said it, I was a big Rick Nash fan. He was good in the season. He scored a good amount of goals. But man, we gave up Anisimov and Dubinsky. And those were two guys that, if we had them, we could have easily won.
Dude, Dubinsky, yeah,
I'm taking those two players and putting two really good players on my team instead of just one who didn't even show up in the playoffs.
The 14-15 playoffs, Nash wasn't as bad. He did end up getting 14 points. But, man, this image from the 13-14 season of Nash missing the open net, oh, my God. That image will be in my head forever of him missing the open net in the Cup final. He only got 10 points in that playoff run.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, we played more games, and he got more points in less playoff games. And if he was just as good as we thought he would be for that run, it just changes the game completely. But you could also say with that 2015 run, if Zuccarello didn't get hurt, the Rangers would have won the Cup that year. The 2012 team, I just don't even understand how they didn't win.
2014 team played LA. I think I'm not gonna blame it on the officiating, but man, those games were not officiated well. I think it was a tripping call on Zuccarello in Game 5 when we were down 3-1 and we had the lead, which gave LA the power play that ended up tying the game. I think it was a fluke call. I don't remember if it was tripping or whatever, but you look back at the replay and it was not what it should have been. And I think the whole series, I think the officiating was just bad. And power plays in hockey are just if it's off a bad call and they score a goal, it's just game changing.
Yeah, and it's really painful. I think the thing, though, that really lost us that series also, or that Cup run, was AV's coaching style, because he would have us, whenever we'd get a 2-goal lead, have us play a passive defensive game.
Yeah, it's passive, yeah.
Yeah, and it just screwed us over so much, and it's just unfortunate, because oh man, it's just so frustrating that we had a chance to come out of this past decade with 3 cups, and you don't even get one. Not even one.
Since I think it was the 08, we've been tied cup tenders.
Yeah, but those 3 runs, in my opinion, stand out the most from the rest of them. I mean, 2017 was kind of a good run. 2016, we got embarrassed by Pittsburgh. Nothing really to say there.
Who did we lost to Ottawa in 17, right?
Yeah, we lost them because they played a 1-3-1 game.
Erik Karlsson, is that his name?
Yeah.
Right. He owned Lundqvist. I mean, he absolutely owned him.
Yeah, and then Pajot for some reason just decided to have a game and got a 4-goal game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Against us. That was so stupid.
We have terrible moments. I mean, they didn't even have a top. I mean, Anderson wasn't. And to think that they just came in and stomped on us. I mean, we just, after the Cup run, and the President's Trophy lost that year against Tampa, we just really declined. And I think now rebuilding in the next couple of years, we'll be back in that spot. Because but I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite Rangers goal of all time?
Favorite Rangers goal of all time? Ooh, that is tough.
I got 2 in my mind.
There's so many I have in my mind, because just you gotta limit it to certain playoff runs. Because 2014, the St. Louis goal. You have in 2015, that's even tough. You have the Stepan goal. You have the McDonough goal. The Hagelin goal. In 2012, you have the Richards goal and then the Stahl goal in overtime of that game when they came back at the last minute. Oh, man, that's so tough to choose my favorite one out of all of them. I mean, I was a huge St. Louis fan, so I'm kind of leaning towards that, especially just like knowing that was the game after his mom died and everything. Like, that's got to be tough to play just by itself. And then the score, that goal, you gotta just like give him credit there. But I don't know. That's still really tough for me to decide. What is yours though?
Well, I have two, so I'm gonna go with I'm surprised you didn't bring this one up. My favorite Rangers goal of all time, and like all time, like before I even lived, was obviously Matteo's goal. That's my favorite Rangers goal. I wasn't alive for it, but it was one of the best. And,
I just wanted to pick something that I was alive for, to be honest.
No, I agree with you. My dad tells me stories. He was at that game. He was like at every Ranger game, Cup Series. He was there when they won the Cup. He has one of the original hats from the Stanley Cup in 1994 that the players wore, and those were like not sold and they were hard to find. But back to the topic, my favorite goal that I've ever seen or experienced in my lifetime was Derek Stepan's Game 7. I mean, that is the most electrifying goal I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean that goal was amazing.
Like I loved St. Louis or Marty St. Louis goal in overtime. Top shelf. Everyone started standing up when he got the puck, and that brings back good memories. I loved him as a hockey player, but I think the bigger goal that I've witnessed was Stepan's. It was in the right place at the right time, and the roof just blew off at MSG.
Yeah, you ever watch the live videos of that? That was just...
I go back and watch it, and man, you can't even hear the goal horn.
Yeah, it's insane.
It gives me chills.
I'm so glad that I could have picked the Hagelin goal just out of the fact that I was at that game. That game was just amazing also. Hagelin's game winner in Game 5 against Pittsburgh send us to the second round. That was an amazing goal also. I could have easily picked that, but man, that Stepan goal and the St. Louis goal, it's so tough to choose out of all of them.
Yeah, because I feel like Hagelin's goal, we were up 3-1 in the series, so there was no pressure there, but you got Game 7, double overtime, send us off to the next round. I think that if we ended up winning the Cup that year, that definitely would have been one of the most, in Rangers history, one of the best goals ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what sucks about that run, though, the 2015 run? I feel like Zuccarello was due for a big moment in that run. I feel like if they went to the Cup, just all they had to do was score some goals. Lundqvist kept them in the game in Game 7. Just score 2 goals. That's all they needed. Because I'm pretty sure they got the second one on an empty netter. But all you have to do is score at least 2 goals. Zuccarello would have came back for the Cup. And I feel like he would have been due for a big moment in the Cup. Possibly even win us the Stanley Cup that year.
Yeah. I think the Tampa Bay Game 7 goal. We didn't score anything that game.
No, we didn't.
I think it was 10 minutes left, and they were up 1-0, and they scored a goal. Second goal, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, they did. It was an empty net. Yeah, you're right.
It was with 10 minutes left, and I remember watching with my dad, and I was just shocked. I was this great era. I wouldn't call it an era, but this great run. All of a sudden, I felt deflated. It can't end this way. We're in Game 7. We just came back 3-1 from the Capitals, and we're gonna lose like this. Not even score a goal in Game 7. It was just deflating.
Yeah, it's still deflating to me. Just the fact that you don't come out with any cups with that core at all. Lundqvist just needed one.
I feel so bad for him. And I highly doubt he'll get the cup with the Capitals. I don't know. I haven't been following it. I don't know if he'll be their starting goaltender. But
he won't be if he returns, but I feel like Washington could have a chance technically to win a cup if he does make it. If he makes it back and suits up for a game in the Stanley Cup for Washington and Washington wins it, that's a story.
Listen, I I hate the Capitals. I hate Alex Ovechkin with a passion. We even have a chant for him. Like that's how much we hate him. He absolutely owns Lundqvist all the time. I absolutely hate him. But if I saw Lundqvist win a cup with the Capitals, I wouldn't be too. Because if he doesn't win the cup, he'll go down as one of the greatest ever to not, if not the greatest ever. And I think it's just sad he couldn't win one with New York because, you know, he'll always be remembered as a Ranger. So, like, if you look on from 20 years from now, you're going to remember Henrik Lundqvist as a Ranger and not a Capitals. So if you want a cup with the Capitals, you're not going to really remember him for that, especially being a backup goalie, really. He was destined for so much better. I mean, I'm talking a three-peat back in those years where we were just insane, and it's sad. He gave his heart out. He was. I saw him after the games. I mean, he would just be so exhausted, and he gave it.
Yeah, there was just never good enough defense for him. You look at his stats though in the playoffs. The guy in the playoffs, I'm not going to count his first playoff appearances because that was only 3 games, but only once he had a save percentage below 900, and that's the time that he didn't is the time where the team completely flopped against Pittsburgh and got embarrassed. Other than that, his save percentage was always above 900 with that garbage defense all the time. And specifically on the 3 runs we've been talking about, the 11-12 run, 931 save percentage. The 13-14 run, he had a 927 save percentage. The 14-15 run, 928 save percentage. The guy was an animal in the playoffs. Complete animal. And he just deserved the cup.
I mean, I even think I'm going to throw this back to the 2015. His save percentage could have been higher. I mean, you look at the goal that I forgot who scored it against the Capitals when they went up 2-1 or 3-1. Went off his skate. He didn't give up fluke goals. Like, if they scored, it wasn't his fault. He didn't leave something wide open. If he allowed a goal, it was probably a one-timer or just something that he couldn't stop. He was stopping everything.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at the scores of these games, most of them were 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Like, yeah, the only brutal insane game I could really remember is the one against Tampa. I think it was game 1 when he allowed like 7 goals.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're in for a ride. But I think that, you said look at the scores. I mean, you know how many games we played during the playoffs that went into double overtime and overtime? I mean, that's just...
And he kept us in.
Yes, it's insane. Like, the Martinez goal in game 5 against us, I'll never watch that highlight again. But he had no chance at that.
Unless you're following NHL NBC on Instagram, they're gonna force you to watch it because for some reason they love posting that goal. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, I mean, double overtime. What was it, like 2-2 as the score of that game when that was it, or 1-1? I forgot, but it was probably 2-2. But we're in double overtime, and I mean, he was stopping everything, and then they just get a lucky break, and not one goal in the NHL is stopping that. He didn't give up easy goals. That's all I have to say.
Let's also not sleep on the 13-14 run where he got the shutout in Game 6 to send us to the Cup. He was the reason that 13-14 team actually had a chance to win the Cup because the rest of the team was just not good enough. I don't care what anyone says. They were not good enough. All the games in that season or that playoff run, I should say, were so low scoring. Lundqvist kept them in every single game and got the shutout. Like you're playing Dustin Tokarski or whatever his name is against the Canadians. How are you not scoring more goals? The fact that Lundqvist even had to get a shutout that game is ridiculous, but I'm glad he did. You want to hear this? Also, I have his playoff stats pulled up. In those 3 runs, he had over 1,200 minutes at least in those playoff runs total for those runs. That's insane.
That's like every game. I would.
Yeah, it is. Until Shesterkin started a game last year in the playoffs, Lundqvist got the start in every single playoff game until then. I forgot how many games it was exactly. I think it was like 120 something. Other than that, it's just been Lundqvist. Opening night, for the first time since 2005 it was, we had someone not Henrik Lundqvist start opening night. It was 2004 actually, I believe. No, it was 2005. Never mind.
Yeah, he's been ridiculous ever since he came into. I mean, it's sad that we had to let him go because we have 2 outstanding goaltenders right now. We're talking about Shesterkin. You know, he was a rookie last year, right? If I'm correct.
He's still technically a rookie because he didn't play the certain amount of games.
Start. Yeah. So I heard this stat, and I think it was after they beat Carolina. I don't forget if it was Carolina. I think it was he was like the first ever in NHL history as a rookie goaltender to win the first 9 games or 8 games or 9 out of 10 games. And, you know, he's being set up to be our next one, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And hopefully he gets us a win tomorrow.
He'll never be comparable, but when that kid is hot, nobody's scoring on him. I'm sorry, but it's just he's going to have a lot of goals allowed, I think, in my opinion, in season and next season because, like I said, we're still rebuilding. It would be nice to make the playoffs, but because we don't have a strong defense and a strong team, they're going to get more shots on them.
The thing is, our defense could be better. That's the thing. Like, our defense could be good. We saw it against the Islanders.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is with Jacob Trouba, but I remember I was at Carolina last year right before the season, like COVID thing. I saw a game in Carolina. I think he had like 2 penalties and like I don't like the whole game. And I mean, a defenseman who can't keep himself out of the penalty box is just, I hate that. Because when you are a good defenseman and you take yourself and put yourself in the penalty box off of just mental things and you can't keep your cool, like mental frustration, mistakes, those kind of penalties, you're putting your team down because you're a defenseman, okay? It's not hard. Keep your cool and stay out of the penalty box. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous the fact that we're paying this guy $8 million for so long. I can't even the thought process. I understand what the Rangers' thought process was. So their thought process with it, in case any of the listeners want to know, or even if you're curious of what the thought process was. The thought process was that Jacob Trouba had 50 points in Winnipeg and was a stud last year. And it was his 25-year-old season. You're thinking, all right, this guy's turning 26, 27. This guy could break out. So they get him and sign him to this long-term deal. And they were in hope that it would look like a steal because were thinking, obviously this is pre-COVID, so their assumption was the cap would go up soon or at some point at least. And obviously that's just not the case. The cap's not going to go up for a while. And now we're stuck with this. And in my opinion, what the Rangers should have done was a 1-year prove-it deal to prove that that year wasn't a fluke. That 50-point year wasn't a fluke because the guy never got 50 points, was not like that. That was just a completely different Jacob Trouba that just in general than ever. They should have signed him to a 1-year prove-it deal, make him prove that he could do it again, then you sign him to the big deal if he does, which obviously he didn't. Then we'd be looking at a completely different scenario. But now we're stuck with that contract because I don't think there's any chance any team takes that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Sometimes those mistakes happen. You would like to go back and be able to fix it, but there's no telling what can happen.
It's a big mistake, though, that I don't feel like it's going to be fixable. And for a team that has a lot of rookies that are going to need to be paid at some point, it's not good having that contract on the Bucks. It does not do anything good for the team whatsoever. We have 6 more years of it. 6 more.
6 more years of screaming. Yeah, 6 more years of hell.
I mean, the Rangers gotta find some sort of way to trade him. Like, you can't do this anymore. I'm surprised before his no trade clause kicked in, they didn't try to trade him. And unless there was just no takers and they did try, but I feel like there would have been there would be some takers after. Yeah, his season was bad, but there might have been a team that would be like, oh, we could fix him maybe. But $8 million for the next 6 years. You just look long term. All right, you have a couple guys coming off the books that you're going to need to pay this year. Shesterkin, Lindgren, Howden, Gauthier, Hedel, and Buchnevich all have expiring contracts after this year. You have some of the buyout money from Lundqvist going off. A lot of it, actually. Same with Shattenkirk, which helps. But then you look at future years. The year after that, you have Zibanejad, Strome, Lemieux, Kakko, D'Angelo, Fox. And then you have Lafreniere the year after. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned Shattenkirk. I think that was probably one of the not dumbest things, but really, I mean, I expected him to come in New York and be a stud, and he did not live up to that expectation. I mean, we did get him for a good price because he wanted to play in New York. Like,
it was a hometown discount,
yeah. So he was going to play for a cheaper price, but he was not anywhere near the hype.
I don't know. It's tough with them.
Not anywhere near, but I expected more.
Injuries derailed him in his first year, and I think just Lindy Ruff, the way he had the defense playing, and the defense was coached also, I think that also kind of fucked him up a lot. Because you had him go to Tampa Bay and win a cup just now, and he was really good, actually. Not anything like top pairing defenseman, but he was pretty good. And you know what also kind of sucks about it? We're not sitting here talking about the Jacob Trouba contract if we don't have to buy out Shattenkirk. We're talking about Shattenkirk, this being, I believe it would be the last year of his deal at this point. That's what we'd be talking right now. Instead, if we're sitting here with Shattenkirk. But no, instead we're talking Jacob Trouba here, and it just sucks. It sucks so much. And I just don't know what the Rangers are going to do when it comes to the whole Jacob Trouba problem, because they're going to have to trade probably Kreider because of this, which sucks. But
we gave up a lot to keep him too.
Yeah, but we didn't know we were going to win the first overall pick. I think had the Rangers known they would win the first overall pick, you trade him, and then Lafreniere's on your left side. But obviously the Rangers didn't know they were going to have the first pick.
Least unexpected thing. Making the playoffs and getting the first round pick too. Like, absurd. That's all I gotta say. When Kreider's gone, I'm gonna be really sad. The last from that amazing, era.
Yeah, and to me, he should have been named the captain. I'm still surprised he wasn't.
Oh my gosh. Someone needs to be named the captain. What do we have? 4 assistants?
Yeah, it should be Kreider, though. Like, there's no reason for him not to be, because he's the longest tenured Ranger. He is here for 7 more years. He's been on deep playoff runs, knows what it takes, plays with grit, and like people say like Zibanejad, and even some say Panarin, but the thing with Zibanejad and Panarin, they both don't handle the media well. Panarin doesn't even speak English, so that kind of eliminates him either way. I don't know if you watched him and Booch in that post game, but that was so funny. But Panarin can't even speak English. Zibanejad's like shy. Also, let's not. I love Zibanejad, but let's not sleep on the fact that Kreider had the balls to stay after they got swept by Carolina to talk to the media, while Zibanejad ran off and didn't address the media after the sweep. Kreider stayed, speaks multiple languages. And also having Panarin or Zibanejad being your captain, people use the whole point that they're more consistent and they're better players. If anything, that shows why Kreider should be the captain, because rookies are not going to go through. You want your captain to be someone that you could look up to. And yeah, because if you have Kreider who goes through ups and downs, he's going to know how to handle them and tell the rookies when they're going through lows. He could help them handle and tell them what it's like to go through lows. Zibanejad and Panarin don't really go through lows as much in their careers. So, and Kreider plays with grit also, like I said. So that's someone you want to model your game after. And he just has everything, in my opinion, as what it takes to be the captain.
Also, being to a Stanley Cup, so he's got experience like with playoffs too.
Exactly. Zibanejad has a second-round exit and a couple first-round exits. Kreider's been to multiple conference finals, a cup final. He's been on these long playoff runs. There's no reason for him not to be the captain.
I mean, he's lost the Stanley Cup. He's been through the worst. He lost all of his teammates, and he still plays with heart. I mean, there's no doubt on mine he should be the captain, but I guess we pretty much smashed that. But I'm gonna ask you, between the two, who is your favorite captain? Ryan Callahan or McDonough?
Or McDonough, did you say?
Yeah.
McDonough. Because I heard apparently there was problems with Callahan being the captain or whatever. So McDonough.
Yeah. Yeah, and McDonough stayed longer.
Yeah, and that's kind of a whole thing also. People were asking why McDonough became the captain and not someone someone like Zuccarello during that time, because you don't just give it to the best player. You give it to you got to give it to someone that goes through ups and downs and has lots of experience, and there's just certain standards to being a captain that people just ignore. And Zuccarello is kind of like Zibanejad to me. He'll talk to the media, but he's more shy than a guy like McDonough is to the media. Kreider, he's not shy when he talks to the media. You listen to when he talks to the media, he sounds confident, doesn't sound shy, doesn't back away or anything from the media. He just has everything to be a captain. And I was shocked when the Rangers went into the season saying they were going to have 4 alternates and not name one.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm going to take this topic a little bit further swerve, but like you said, it should be someone who's been there for a while and knows it best. I was shocked. I don't follow the Edmonton, but when McDavid got named captain, I mean, I don't know how he is off the ice or whatever, but he's still very young and he's a captain. So I don't follow him as much. I know he's a great player, but I don't know how he is off the ice. And usually when you see captains, it's usually one of their older players, I would think.
Yeah, he got named captain too early. I think that he's fine in terms of the media and everything. I would have gave it though to someone like Nugent Hopkins if I was the Oilers or something, a guy who was a first overall pick, but even then, like, he's someone that could be like, look, I was the first to these younger players. I was the first overall pick, but I still go through lows a lot. Like, you go through lows in your career and everything. Like, I don't know how he is with the media or anything, but yeah, but with the Islanders, you don't see them naming Barzell captain. They have Lee as their captain. Kind of a similar situation. The Blackhawks, Kane's not the captain, Taze is. With, what were you going to say?
I mean, Taze or Patrick could be the captain. I mean, they've both been there forever.
Yeah, but I would say that Taze more like qualifies for the captain. I don't know, just something about him. And then like the Stars, you have Ben as the captain. You don't see it's not Tyler Sagan. You know, like
the Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews is the captain.
Yeah, he's out
probably the best player.
Yeah, he's out the captain. Tavares is.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he should. Still, I think that Austin Matthews is a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, Austin Matthews is probably their best player. Like, there's some times you could give it to the best player when you have, like, a Crosby or, like, an Ovechkin. And even McDavid, I'm fine with McDavid being captain. But, like, I feel like they did it early. Sabres, same with Eichel for them. Like, it's fine to have it be your best player. But, like, to me, Zibanejad isn't, like, that type of player.
No.
Where he could be the captain.
Yeah, I just think, no question, Kreider should be captain. I forgot, who's the fourth alternate? I know it's Panarin and Zibanejad.
Trouba.
Which it makes no sense at all. It's always been one captain and two assistants.
Yeah, or three alternates, but they wanted to give it to someone on defense, which I guess Trouba does make the most sense if you look at the defense. Like, who else from that defense are you gonna?
Like Mark Stahl.
Yeah, like who defensively are you giving it to? Fox is too young. Everyone's too young. You're not gonna give it to Jack Johnson or Smith or D'Angelo. So, yeah. Sure, give it to the guy who's making $8 million. Let him have some value.
Yeah, was it this is a throwback. Wasn't Delzato a captain?
He might have been.
I know Girardi was. Girardi was probably one of my favorite defensemen I watched play.
Yeah, that's what I like about him and like Lindgren. Like, they're just those type of players that will like block shots and everything.
Yeah, and that's how Chris Kreider is too, right? He gave up his body. I forgot what playoffs it was. Didn't he break his foot one time in the playoffs? Or no?
No, he broke his foot last year.
But didn't he get hurt one time blocking a shot? Or who got hurt one time?
Zuccarello ended up blocking his own teammate's shot, and that's how he fractured his skull. But
no, but what I mean by that is Kreider is he'll block a shot.
Yeah, and not to discredit Mika, now that we're like talking about it, not to discredit Mika, but Kreider helps him get some of those goals. Like, Kreider's standing in front of the net, screening the goalie. Yeah, exactly. And he's helping Zibanejad get some of those goals, which I think him playing with Lafreniere tomorrow, I think Lafreniere has a chance to get a goal with Kreider screening in front of the net. That would be huge, but...
Yes, he'll get open more. Like, I really feel like Panarin, he doesn't need that. He's a pure sniper. He can hit shots. Like, he can fit the puck into small places. He doesn't need a screen, obviously. It would help. I would think, in my opinion, if he had someone in front of the net, which he probably might here and there, but he's a pure sniper. He can hit a shot from anywhere.
Yeah.
That's just
how
I think.
I agree with that.
I think he's our best player, in my opinion. He's I don't want to jinx it. He has 4 points in the last 2 games. So, I mean, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, and with that contract, everyone was saying it's an overpay, and hopefully he keeps this up, because I don't want to jinx it like you said. But if he keeps this up, this contract has been pretty good so far. And yeah, like the last year or two may be a little more painful than it is right now. Like, it's not painful, but I mean, it may be more painful than how things are now. But that's kind of the thing that I was kind of thinking about just now with Truba. Maybe they sign him to these deals so then, like, their thought process is that they could sign their RFAs to bridge deals. Then when these guys are up, then they get their bigger paydays. But I don't know what they're going to do with the cap because I'm pretty sure they expect it to go up. But Panarin, yeah, this contract could end up being a steal if he keeps up this type of production.
100%. Probably our best deal ever, almost.
He could end up being one of the best free agent signings ever because if you just look at the past, you have like Brad Richards, just all these guys that just Shattenkirk, all these big name guys that we've spent money on. They just never lived up to the expectations or the hype. Panarin has that chance, and like we're saying, don't want to jinx it, but like he really does have the chance to be the best New York Ranger free agent signing ever, and I'm really hoping that it becomes that way.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, do we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I think we covered more than enough.
All right, so that is going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Please remember to follow us on social media at BB Podcast 94, Instagram and Twitter, that is. Be sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Drop a like, comment also. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow us. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everyone.